Here's our first look at the two new Avalanche transceivers from Black Diamond. We've got the Guide Bluetooth and the Recon Bluetooth. So unmistakably Peeps transceivers. These are in fact rebadged versions of the two new Peeps transceivers. So the Guide BT is the Pro BT from Peeps, and the Recon is the Powder BT from Peeps. Apart from the colour and the names, they're identical models. Okay, so we'll start with the Recon, which is the simpler and lower cost model. And I mean, it's unmistakably a Peeps transceiver, as they feature the kind of lock on the front and the slider up the side, which is common to what used to be the DSP Pro, the older Peeps transceivers. Okay, so on the front we've got a mark button. The search and power selector is all built into one switch on the side, and then on the back we've got screw closed battery compartments. Okay, the Recon and the Guide have a 60 metre search strip width. So that's one of the widest search strips of the Avalanche transceivers on the market at the moment. One feature of the Recon and the Guide is that they feature a circular field pattern. So whereas most transceivers have an elliptical search field, so when they say it's 60 metres, it kind of extends for if you imagine the transceiver in the centre of a big egg shape, so the longest point to point of the egg would be 60 metres, but side to side might be 40 metres. So an ellipse shape. Okay, so the Recon and the Guide, they now say their search field is circular. So if you drew a circle with a diameter of 60 metres, place the transceiver in the middle, that would be what it would look like. So front and back searching is the same, but side to side searching has been improved. So hopefully it makes it harder to miss things in the course search. So the slider's locked at first, so if I hold the lock in and go into send, the unit does a self-test setup. Okay, it tests its antennas, looks at its environment, and then goes into transmit mode. Okay, it's got an X on the screen because both these models feature smart antenna technology, so they've got a choice of two antennas they can transmit from, and if they detect that one of the transceivers is being compromised by interference, it'll choose the other antenna to transmit from, so it optimises you being found if you're buried. Okay, unfortunately, because these are new transceivers, I didn't get the harnesses with them, so I can't show you the harnesses, but I believe it's a pouch body strap in common with most of the models on the market these days. So that'd be how you wear your transceiver transmitting. Okay, if you want to go into search mode, again, I've got to pull the lock switch across and push it up into search. Okay, double dots indicate the unit is searching but no signal is being received. Okay, and then the other graphic is a battery power indicator. If I want to go back into transmit mode quickly, there's a secondary avalanche or anything, I just slide the slider down, don't need to put the lock switch or anything, and it locks into the send mode. Okay, the only other button that the Recon has is the mark button here. Solid audible click when I press it. So if you find one transceiver, you can mask it with the mark button, and then you don't really get any more information about that transceiver, allowing you to search for your avalanche debris for a secondary signal while your searchers and diggers rescue the first person. These models both have BT on the end of them, standing for Bluetooth, as they both can be used in conjunction with the Peeps app. Okay, so knowing from other transceivers I've used. If you hold down the flag button and turn on the power, which takes several fingers, okay, then I've activated Bluetooth mode and you can see the Bluetooth icon on the screen there. I'll then go into my phone on the Peeps app. Okay, welcome to Peeps. Device Manager. Click on Device Manager, scan for Bluetooth devices, and there we have it. BD Recon sample. Okay, inside there I can then find the information about my transceiver. There you go, it's straight away telling me that there is a new software update, version 0.9 available for my transceiver. It's very common when, well, especially this is a demo one, it's not even a production sample. So it's telling me straight away there is new software to update. I can skip update for now. Okay, and then it gives me information about the transceiver, when it was registered, what the battery's like, that kind of thing. If I go out of Device Manager, this app is great actually. I can go to Training. The app offers you quite a lot of in-depth training so that you really understand and can become familiar with your transceiver. It even allows, if you've got 4 transceivers in training mode, you can even turn them on and off from transmitting using the app so you can control your search scenario. It's a really great training tool that Black Diamond and Peeps are offering, and right, really kind of market leading, I'd say, at the moment. So that's training mode. The other mode we had was Device Manager. Fleet Manager is not really important unless you have a business and a whole bunch of transceivers that you want to work with, and obviously that also registers your warranty and that kind of thing with the company. So really good app. Okay, so that is the Recon. Okay, turn it off. So the Guide BT, does everything the Recon does, and the app, all that's exactly the same, plus has a few extra features. Okay, so in use it's very, very similar to the Recon, except we've got another button now, this button with like a, almost like a wireless symbol on it. And this is the scan function. So this is really used in two scenarios. If you have a multiple burial situation, pressing the scan button basically changes the mode of the transceiver. It then looks at all the signals it's receiving, and it relays that information to you in a slightly different way. First of all, it tells you how many signals it's receiving that are less than 5 meters away. And then it tells you how many signals it's receiving that are between 5 and 20 meters, and then greater than 20 meters. So you get a much better picture in your mind about what's going on in your avalanche debris. The second thing it does is during scan mode, the range is reduced and the transceiver becomes much more tolerant of older transceivers that perhaps have drifted from the set 457 megahertz frequency. The way it works is that in order to maximize the range of a transceiver, the transceivers become more fussy about how accurately the transmitting transceiver is on its frequency. There is an industry standard for plus or minus whatever it is from 457 megahertz, but and that's fine if you've got new digital transceiver to new digital transceiver, which is most common. But if you've got an old analog transceiver, it may have drifted outside of that industry standard, in which case a digital transceiver will not see it, will not pick it up, or it will pick it up intermittently as the signal drifts in and out of the tolerance. The scan button widens the tolerance, but that shortens the range. Okay? And if it detects a transceiver in there that it previously didn't detect, it will then stay in that widened mode. So it realises there's a missing transceiver and it says, right, okay, I'm just going to stay more tolerant now of all transceivers. Okay, so for instance, it's a hard scenario to imagine you use, but if you knew your mate had an old transceiver and there was an avalanche and you couldn't pick up a signal for him, then you'd be like, okay, I need to go into scan mode. So that's what that does. What we've talked. The guide BT also has a detailed scan function where it will run through the distance to all the transceivers it is receiving. Okay, starting with the furthest away and ending with the closest, which is the one it would like to go to. You are then allowed to select either the next furthest away or the next one after that. So you've got the 3 closest transceivers, it will go to the closest one by default, but you could go to the one after that or the one after that. So if you had 2 people who you could actually search independently. So what it's allowing you to do is how it's allowing you to mark the closest transceiver, mask it before you've found it, because you're leaving searching for that to someone else and you are going to go for the next one after that. So rather than having to find the first transceiver and mask it, you can mask it before you've found it, just using the victim selection option. So that's quite technologically advanced. How often you need that feature in the real world is a matter that's open to a lot of debate, and the answer would be almost certainly not. Okay, another feature that the Guide BT has is analog mode. So when I'm searching, if I hold down the scan button for 3 seconds, it turns my digital transceiver into an analog transceiver, so it doesn't process the signal at all. The sensitivity is controlled manually with the 2 buttons on the front. I can turn the sensitivity up and down, and you can just hear the raw signal input as it comes into the transceiver. That mode is most useful if you've got 5 or 6 people all buried very, very close to each other. If you've got multiple signals overlapping in a small area, digital transceivers really, really struggle and they just can't pick the signals apart. So what you can do is you can go to analog mode, really reduce the sensitivity of your transceiver down to just a few meters. So then you walk in very small strips over your avalanche debris, and it'll only receive a signal when you're really right on top of it. But that way you can pick apart signals where you might have 3 within 10 meters. So that's how you do that, a technique called microstrips. Again, an advanced feature, very good if you know how to use it, hardly ever needed, and as you suggest, this is a Guide Pro model. So it's only for those people that have practiced and can use those features. Auto revert built into both models, turned off by default, but all the settings are adjusted via the app, very easy for you to turn back on. So those are the extra features of the Guide BT.